Dog's Peaches Therapies, and welcome back to another episode of Hop, Skip and a Jump. Today I am going to be talking about Crufts. Now, talking about Crufts is something that is going to split a room on people who absolutely love it, people who absolutely despise it, and I'm going to pop myself right in the middle because whenever I get asked about Crufts, I always say it's the very best of the dog world and it's also the very worst of the dog world. So let's talk about the best bits. Okay. Actually, let's do it as a shit sandwich. So we're going to talk about good, bad, and then good again. So let's talk about the first good bit. So the thing that I love about Crufts is I get to take my dog Lily, and this year we worked with Fatiza. So Fatiza are a LED therapy company that I've worked with for many years, and they kindly asked me to go and demo with Lily what a canine massage session looks like with using the Fatiza equipment. So obviously more than happy to do that. So that was an amazing opportunity, and obviously this year I got to sell my book, which was also on the Fatiza stand at Crufts. So it's like these are like really big moments for me in my career as a canine therapist. So I'm very honoured and very privileged to do that. So that's like one of the elements, the good bits of it. Let's get to the shitty bits of it. So, as someone who I would say I subscribe to kind of force free training, but I'm also very honest about the fact that when I first started my training journey with my own dogs, I did subscribe to balanced training, which is something that I have moved away from. Kind of when I was learning more about musculoskeletal system and canine pain, did I start to think, actually, I don't want to subscribe to this type of training. I feel like I sit more comfortably in the force-free category. So oh God, here we go. Now we're going to talk about training. So when I look at what balanced training is, so the type of balanced training that I subscribed to was lead corrections and the use of slip leads. Something that I have never subscribed to would be the use of e-collars, prong collars, vibration collars. So I think sometimes that you have, probably should put my phone on silent, sorry about that. When you look at, say, like the balanced community, you have a section that subscribe to lead corrections and slip leads. Then you have ones that subscribe to that, but also the collars, prong collars, vibration collars. And you have kind of like a mix between all of them. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you what's right and what's wrong. I'm going to tell you that I was balanced, now I do force free, and in clinic and the work that I do now, I very much subscribe to the force free kind of work, because obviously in previous episodes I've talked about cooperative care. So right, okay, in clinic I allow harnesses, I allow collars and flat collars and leads, and I also allow slip leads as well. What I do not allow in clinic is e-collars, prong collars, or vibration collars. That's my personal preference, and that's how I run my business. I suppose the joys of being self-employed and working for myself is that I get to set the rules of what I'm comfortable with and also what I'm not comfortable with. So that's one thing, right? So you go to Crufts. There's a lot of show in there. It's the biggest dog show in the world. And there always is, for me, like a really big sense of conflict around Crufts. You know, is it a case of, where showing dogs for their aesthetics, and some of those aesthetics do not, how do I word this? They don't take into account health. So some of them are purely cosmetic. So we look at brachiocephalic breeds, and I think Frenchies do get a lot of hate for, or they get a lot of heat. They're under the Frenchies, English bulldogs, and pugs kind of get a lot of heat But we have to remember they're not the only ones that are brachiocephalic. We're starting to see brachiocephalic stuff creep in with staffies, with Rottweilers, with Mastiffs, and now there's a fire alarm going off. And it's stopped. The fire alarm works. Sorry about that. So you have those breeds that are starting to, reduce the length of the muzzle. You've got Shih Tzus and Lhasas. I think sometimes they can kind of get like ignored almost, but actually they're also brachiocephalic. They all kind of like fit into that category. So obviously with your brachiocephalic breeds, we have issues with breathing would probably be one major thing, and obviously we all need to breathe, so it's and as well when you look at the show lines of dogs, they are very different to the working line. So let's look at the Labrador, for example. So the working Labrador is very lean, he's very slight, he's very muscular, whereas you look at the show line Labradors, they are a lot heavier. There's no two ways about it. They have a much broader chest and they carry extra weight because that's how they look, or they like them to look in the show ring. And I think for me, as someone who does consultations about canine wellness, seeing dogs that have exaggerated features such as the brachiocephalic, seeing dogs that are overweight in the ring isn't, it's not ideal. This isn't what optimal health should look like for dogs. Can we do better in the show ring? Absolutely, we could do better in the show ring. Because what we're presenting in the show ring is, this is what the best of breed looks like. This is what we should be aiming for. And actually, is it taking health into account in some cases? No, it's not. Now, that's not to say that, we aren't seeing positive, strides forward with breeding. So if you look at the Cavalier that won Best in Breed, I believe it was last year, I was quite impressed with the muzzle length on that calf. So again, calves are another one that can have, that reduced muzzle length. But the one that won Best of Breed last year did actually have quite a good size muzzle for the breed. And I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. We're making real strides forward. And then I found out that particular dog had sired 2 litters before it had any testing to find out whether it carried or whether it had a condition known as syringomyelia. So syringomyelia is something that over 90% of Cavaliers will suffer from. It's basically to do with the skull formation, and it nips on the back of the brain stem, so the dog is pretty much guaranteed to have some kind of nerve pain, especially around the neck. That can be itemised by phantom scratching. Is like one of the key points when you're looking at calves. Do they do this phantom scratching? Because that is 1.101 of what does syringomyelia look like. So yes, with that dog, we saw the increased length in muzzle. I was like, yes, brilliant. But then they're breeding off it before they've tested to see if it has the condition that is an absolute, plight across this breed. And I was like, oh, it's like 5 steps forward, 20 steps backwards. But these things take time. So if you listen to the Crufts commentary, so when the French Bulldog that won best in group, which I was really, really shocked at, because this year Crufts decided that any dog that has an exaggerated feature wasn't allowed onto a stand to be used as like social media influencers. And the list was massive of dogs that they wouldn't allow. So there was Frenchies, Pugs, English Bulldogs, Boston Terriers, I think Newfoundlands was on there. There was Basset Hounds, there was Daxies, there was anything with any kind of exaggerated feature, whether it was in the face or the back or whatever. Trade holders were advised that they were not allowed to have them on as social media influencers. But then it just seems so hypocritical that you then place a brachiocephalic breed as best in group when you've told all these companies that they're not allowed to. We can't be seen to be promoting extreme features. But that it just make sense. It doesn't make sense. You either say, right, okay, we don't want to be promoting breeds that have exaggerated features. let's not show these exaggerated features. Like, it's just not going to happen. The Crufts make far too much money off showing. But the only way that we can change how these breeds look is by changing the breed standard and improving the breed standard. So, but it takes generations for those changes to start to come through. So there's a breeder, I believe she's in Finland, that I've followed for quite a while actually, and she did like an outcross thing. I don't know what you call it, but basically she put a Frenchie that didn't have is it systonic nares, so like nipped nares, and they outcrossed it, I think, with a staffy to add a little bit of extra muzzle. I'm completely butchering the work that she's done, but basically she's trying to change what the Frenchies look like, so making them a little bit taller, making them a little bit longer in the back, and then increasing that muzzle size, and they are lovely, and they are making strides forward in what her Frenchie looks like. And Frenchies, you know, this I look after Frenchies. They are really sweet. They have the most absolute hilarious character, but we can't move away from the fact that actually they do have a lot of health concerns. So, you know, we want these dogs to be living happy and fulfilled lives for as long as possible. And the only way we're going to do that is by changing the breed standards. So then people, the millions of people that watch Crufts and go, oh, look at that dog, I really like the look of that dog. They then, you know, if we change what's winning in the show ring to something that doesn't have as exaggerated features, then that's going to filter down to what the general public are wanting in their dogs. I can't even remember why I went on that tangent. So yeah, so that was one of the things. So seeing dogs with exaggerated features, seeing stressed dogs as well. A lot of stressed dogs. Some dogs that are chilled, but then you're like, are you chilled, or have you just shut down because you can't be bothered? Or are you chilled because you've always been showing and actually this very loud, busy environment is something that's completely normal for you? Dogs that are overweight in the ring, that's very difficult to see, but kind of the most unforgivable is seeing lame dogs in the ring. Judges are supposed to judge on the dog's gait, but the amount of dogs that I saw that were lame, and then, like, to kind of add insult to injury, you have the absolutely horrendous handling of some dogs. So there was a very, right, okay, so let me go back to the lame dogs. So there was a clip that went around on social media. I think it was an Irish red setter. It must have been in the veteran class, and it was like completely like lame. Like, you could see it was in absolute agony, and it's like walking across the ring like it's a broken spider. And I'm just like, why are you showing a dog that is so evidently in discomfort, in pain? Like, it was a welfare concern. You're just like, oh my god. So that was like one thing. Then you have dogs that, you know, if the handlers have them, you know, they have them on these slip leads, but they're not like normal slip leads. They're like bloody cheese wire, some of them, depending on the breed. There'll be like trends on, you know, what that breed is shown on, and but a lot of it is slip leads, and they're so thin. But the handler, their hands are up so high, like their own hand carriage is up so high to increase the dog's head carriage. But actually, some of these dogs, their front feet are barely touching the floor. I'm like, oh my god. But then I saw some beautiful handling where the handler's hand was very, very soft. It's kind of held in line with the neck and out kind of to the side. So the dog's head carriage isn't affected as much by being, you know, kind of yanked up like that. And I always find the handlers that have a much softer hands, the dogs just move, like they just glide. They look gorgeous, they look beautiful. So it's very difficult to see the bad handling, but also it's lovely to see dogs that are sound and ones that are, you know, gliding along the show ring. I mean, I completely fell in love with Afghan hounds this year. Just watching them move was just, breathtaking, absolutely gorgeous. So it was lovely to see that. Saw the Dandy Dinmonts as well. I love them with their bouffant of hair. But again, we have exaggerated features, so it's like, it's very conflicting. But as long as each individual breed is taking strides towards, improving the breed standard, and by improving the breed standard for me would be improving the health. So that was, so yeah, bit of a mixture, that one. The other thing that obviously happened was the Licky Mat controversy and them fetching Southend dog trainer in. I try not to talk about trainers too much. However, this particular trainer, quotation marks, is someone that I don't, obviously doesn't reflect the falsery community, but the balance community don't want him either. Like, he has absolutely no business being around dogs. He tried to get a stall last year and Crufts said no. And then Licky Mat, of all people, why Licky Mat? Like, the falsery community have been, and the balance, right? Okay, so the entire dog community who are into enrichment have been, you know, a stronghold of the Licky Mat community. And then, like, they put this post up saying that he was coming. I was like, is that a joke? Like, is that actually a joke? And the comments, there was I think it was about 900 comments of people going, please don't. Please don't do that. Then the post got taken down. Then it got put up. Then it got taken down. Then it got put up again. And it was just, like, if you were going to bring someone on board to represent your company who is abusive with dogs, right? This doesn't come down to falsery or balance. He's abusive with dogs. That's just my opinion. Everyone, you know, opinions are like arseholes. Everyone's got one. That's mine. He's abusive, okay? I think that Licky Mat absolutely did drop a bollock, for want of a better word. It's the way they handled it, though. So they've then come out and said, you know, oh, we're really sorry, we didn't know what aversive training was. It's like, have you been living under a rock? You know what aversive training is. Shut up. I think if they'd have listened to what the community was saying, like, please don't, this is a really bad idea, this is a really bad idea, they could have cancelled him coming. He snuck in with his bloody pop-up roller banners or whatever they're called. You know, he knew he shouldn't have been there. Like, and he was saying that, you know, he saw dogs with prong collars on at Crufts. I mean, obviously I didn't see every single dog that was there, but I definitely did not see any prong collars. And Crufts, I believe they asked him to leave. Now, Licky Mat have come out and gone, oh, we're really sorry, we made a mistake. It's like, So, you knew that you dropped a bollock, still invited this abusive dog trainer, quotation marks, into Crufts to represent your stand. You had him there selling his books and doing whatever, promoting his brand, promoting his raw, whatever. You had him do that. Then he was asked to leave after you've earned money off his presence, you know, him being there, because obviously he's there to sell your products and sell his book. Then you take the post down. That isn't okay. That's not okay, in my opinion. You've really, really let the side down. So, for Licky Mat, you know, I don't think, you know, we should be persecuting any shops that have their stock in. You know, they've worked hard to buy their stock in. I've talked about Licky Mat for years. And I think, for me, if I had them in stock, I would still sell the stock that I had, but I wouldn't restock them. There's other companies out there that, you know, there's Lick Mat, there's Soda Pup, there's Kong, there's so many different enrichment companies. But that's just me. Again, opinions are like arseholes. You know, do what you need to do what you feel comfortable with. Like, one of my customers came in and went, oh, I've got one of the Licky Mat things. I'm like, you're fine. They're allowed to, you know, you're allowed to bring Licky Mat products in. But for me, that's not a company that I align with anymore, and it's not a company that I will be recommending anymore. I thought their apology was really piss poor as well. I was like, why, if you're not sorry, why are you bothering apologising? It's very bizarre. So yeah, that was a real big hit, I think, for the community to promote someone like that, because that's what they were doing. They were promoting it. It's like when I go on to stands, you know, I'm affiliating myself with that company. At the time he was there, I was working, and even though I don't agree with him, you know, I don't agree with his ethics, you know, even nothing. I would never go up whilst he was working, because that's like, as a professional courtesy, I wouldn't do that. However, I did do a video saying I don't agree with this. I specialise in pain management. If you want to talk about pain, give me a shout. And I didn't hear anything off him. But I'm only a small fry, so that's fine. I'm not overly, butthurt about that. But again, I wouldn't have gone up to his standard. I'd maybe waited until right at the end and just said, look, I want to have a conversation with you about pain and behaviour. And he could have said no, because he's well within his right to say no. But I wouldn't go up right in the middle, because that's not, irregardless of what he does, that isn't fair. That's not a professional courtesy. So that's, so that's just that's your whirlwind tour of what happened with Licky Matt. So the other good things that happened was, so I've done my shit bit. Now let's go back to the bread. So another good thing that happened was, obviously I get to see all the companies that I love. It's not often we're in the same place. So obviously Crufts is a really good chance to meet people. Natural Dog Expo, which is obviously coming up in May, so the 5th of May, the Natural Dog Expo is a really nice place as well to meet up with the companies that you don't get to see a lot in person. So it's also lovely to meet people who watch my content and read the gubbins that I write and talk about. So that's, and meeting people that are genuinely, like, completely obsessed with canine pain. I had one young lady say that I have inspired her to pursue a career in canine pain, whatever that may look like, and that was very humbling. I nearly cried. I was like, oh my god, like this is amazing, and this is why I do what I do, to meet pet parents who are as just obsessed about canine pain as I am, or to help educate them as well about canine pain. So that was, that moment kind of overrides all of the bullshit that can come with attending Crufts. So am I going to Crufts next year? You bet your bottom dollar I am. So I know that some people actively are like, I will never attend Crufts. It's, it's too much, the evasive handling and whatever it may be. And I get it. I completely get it. It's not that you have to turn a blind eye. Well, it is, actually. You have to just, because if you start taking issue with every single handler that's been rough with their dog, or, take issue with the owner that's walked off and left a very stressed dog in a bench kennel, you just spend your whole day doing it. However, I'm going to be proactive, and I'm going to send an email to the Kennel Club, just with an idea. It will never come into fruition, but it's an idea, so I'm going to share it with them and just say, would it be impossible to have like a welfare officer on each show ring, whether they're student vet nurses or student vets or something like that, who are there to monitor the welfare of the vets, to say how many hundreds, if not thousands, easily thousands of dogs that go to Crufts over that 4-day period. I maybe saw a couple of vets that were on duty, in the scrubs. I'm like, no, we need to have more. This is like a really big event. There's obviously some breeds that have to be vet checked and stuff, like your German Shepherds and your Frenchies is another one as well. But there needs to be more. There needs to be more of a focus on the canine welfare side of things, in my humble opinion. So there you go. That is my Crufts lowdown. I had an absolutely amazing time. I was very, very tired afterwards. I think I am still tired a bit now, to be honest. But alas, that is the dog world. So Crufts is like probably the biggest thing in my social calendar for the year, or social/work calendar for the year. So there you go. That is your next kind of episode of Hop, Skip and a Jump, is me rattling on about Crufts. But if you like the podcast, please make sure to drop us a follow, share with people. It's just going to be me waffling on for a little while longer. Then I have been in discussion with some very interesting people that I would absolutely love to have on the podcast. So yes, I will keep you up to date with that. As always, lots of love to you and your dogs, and I'll catch you soon. Take care for now. Bye.